Hey, it's Steve Jones, and this is just a quick overview of the process I used for the AI hackathon. So we've got the questions here. One of the first things I did when looking through the data is I realized there was some text entries, and specifically for the questions 8 and 9, I wanted to turn those into yes, no, and ambiguous answers. And I was able to use ChatGPT to kind of work through it. I gave it the sample data. I talked about gave it the criteria. There was a bit of back and forth and was able to coach it into properly categorizing those. So if we take a look at that, it was able to say, okay, given these answers, this is clearly a no. This it could be that's going to be ambiguous. It's not gonna call that a yes. This one is kind of interesting because it says it depends, but then it says at the end of the statement that Stu would be the most accurate choice, so it called it a yes. So the answers were all over the place, but ChatGPT did a pretty good job at that. Once I had the data, I wanted to do something really visual, so I wanted to create a bunch of videos. In order to start creating the videos, sometimes you need an image, and I used Midjourney for creating the images, with one exception, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Using Midjourney, I was able to create images, and in cases where I needed a start frame and an end frame, I was able to basically use the feature in Midjourney that allows you to vary a region. So for example, I had an empty bowl of milk, and then I was able to add cereal into that milk. The one case where I needed to use ChatGPT for image generation is where I needed an upside down piece of pizza, and Midjourney just doesn't quite have the prompt coherence for that, but ChatGPT was able to create that image. Back in the world of the web here, I used a number of tools for doing stuff with video generation because they all have their various strengths. So I used Kling for some of the video generation. The scene with the milk and the cereal was a Kling scene, for example. I used Sora for some of the scenes, and it's good at some things, but not good at others. I used Google VO, which is a good one for some of the scenes. I used Runway. In particular, I was able to use Runway in conjunction with Pika sometimes, because Pika, for some of its features, it needs a video input. So I could take a picture, make it in Midjourney, throw it in Runway to get a base video, and then go into Pika, and then take one of these, for example, and take the video that I had made from Runway, take the image, in this case one from ChatGPT, and then combine them into the right kind of video that I wanted. One of the really interesting things I did that I haven't done before is I wanted to have the bar charts animated, and I didn't want to go through a lot of work to do that, but I was able to use ChatGPT. I was able to give it directions and basically request an animated bar chart, give it the values, give it a background image, and it would actually create GIF files that I was then able to pull into the final video. So that's a bit of the overall steps. Thanks again for the opportunity to participate.